Okay, cool.
Hi guys, welcome back to Cupcakes and Protein Shakes. I am your host, Savannah. We're doing another episode of Bikini Girl Chit Chat. So I have a fellow bikini girl. So introduce your name, your age, and tell us where you're from.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Macey. I'm 25 years old and I'm from Corpus Christi, Texas.
Okay, welcome to the show. So we're going to talk about
Thank
you and
you.
your fitness journey. So where are you at
Yes.
right now?
Right now, I'm just kind of like building slash just kind of like intuitive phase because I'm not gonna lie, I got burnt out there for a little bit. And so I feel like this season I've been focusing on, I guess, getting a little bit more creative with fitness, like not just going to the gym, but doing like some classes, like Pilates, just to kind of like spice my fitness game up a little bit. And it's like really helped me just get like motivated again. So I'm still focusing on building, but I'm also not like putting so much pressure on myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from. So when did your fitness journey start?
So I started like working out, I guess, in 2017, but by working out, I was going to the gym, like not knowing what I was doing. I was doing like 30 minutes on the treadmill and then 30 on the elliptical, and that was like my workout. But then I just basically started like binge watching YouTube and learning. Like back then, it wasn't as like big as it is now. And I remember Heidi Summers, Buff Bunny, she was like the first YouTuber that was like truly teaching girls like how to work out, how to eat. And so I just kind of like fell in love with everything then. But I had no idea about competing or anything until like COVID happened. And of course, everyone was like in a weird phase, like, okay, well, what do I do with all this extra time? And so back to YouTube again. I think it was like a video of Ashley Callwalter doing like some challenge. It was like Miss Olympia does like a marine challenge, like something like that. And I was like, what is Miss Olympia? So then I just deep dove into that and just I don't know, like I started watching different shows and stuff, but it wasn't so much like the glitz and the glam of the show. Like once I would find like who are these competitors and like Angelica had a YouTube channel too. I would see like I guess just their attitude, like their everyday like what they would do to get there. And then I was like, whoa, I want to do this. And you're actually also one of the first like YouTubers that I got to see like how prepping actually works. And then, yeah, being like stuck in quarantine and stuff, I was like, why not? So then I just started prepping then. So
Okay, did you
yeah.
prep yourself or did you work with someone?
No, I worked with a coach. So I've done two shows. So I guess I started in 2020. I did the Branch Warren in Houston in June of 2021. And then I did Junior USA's last year. So I worked with a coach for both of those shows.
Okay, and how did your first show experience go?
It's so funny because I feel like I'm a little bit like introverted. So maybe like getting on a stage in a bikini sounds like the nightmare of when you are like naked in front of a crowd of people. And but I don't know why I just felt called to do it. And so it didn't hit me until we were like at check-ins the day before. And my boyfriend, but husband now, I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, what am I doing? Like, I don't, who do I think I am? And he was like, no, you're gonna do this. Like, you've worked so hard to get here. And I had like no friends in the industry. Like everything I learned was off of YouTube. So yeah, like at check-ins, I was just kind of like, I can't believe I'm about to do this. And like even the next day, that feeling was still there right before I got on stage. And like when I was on the stairs, I was like, okay, I can do this. And it's just, I don't know, it's a weird feeling when you get on stage. It's like everything just stops and it's just you and the judges, and you're just proud. Like it's just a really awesome experience.
Yeah, I remember that too because like I guess I'm not even an introvert anymore, but like when I first started, I was very introverted. Like
Mhm.
I literally like scoffed and like laughed at this girl because she's like, you should do a competition. And at the time, I was like, you wouldn't catch me dead on a stage. I will never, ever, ever do that. that's crazy. That is the
Yeah.
smallest bikini I've ever seen in my life. But I kind of like,
Hmm.
I started getting, like, I started knowing about it then. And so I
Yeah.
followed someone that I knew journey and I was like, okay, like she looks really freaking good.
Hmm.
Like, I was like, I know this is like a girl I go to school with. I'm like, what did she do? Like, how did she get
Yeah.
so fit? I'm like, how come I can't do that? I'm like, how come I
Yeah.
can't do that? I want to do that. But like during that first time, like when you're, I mean, you're not on stage every day, you're in the gym every
Hmm.
day. So you don't
Right.
really understand
Yeah.
the stress of getting onto a stage until you are at the venue.
Yeah.
And then you look and it's like, all these chairs, there's going to be people in
Yeah.
here. Like I know mentally I've been like preparing for this, but
You
now
have no idea. Yeah.
physically, I'm like, I don't think this is what I imagined
Yeah.
because it's like, you know, you go by yourself to the gym every single day. And then
Hmm.
when you show up, it's like, there's a lot of us here. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
it's not just me by myself. It's like, oh, now this is a competition. And it's
Yeah.
kind of, and it does hit you. And that first time, like, if you are not someone with a past of getting on a stage, like I had never been on a solo
Never.
stage, I'd never done
Hmm.
singing or plays or whatever people get on stages for, or dancing, like a lot of dancers and stuff like that. So I
Hmm.
played sports and that was a team thing, but it was never like
Yeah.
just your hard work on display
Hmm.
by
Yeah.
yourself. But it's like, okay, I worked so hard, I can't not do this. I like,
Yeah.
you're like, I know I look good. And there's literally no going back. Like you
Oh
really
yeah.
can't
Yeah.
not do it. You have
No.
people there, you've told the whole world, you've
Yes.
told your family, you've paid,
Hmm.
everything. I mean, everything is done. And it's just like
Yeah.
that little voice inside is like, what are you doing? Like, what is happening right now? Like,
Yes.
you feel very safe. Is this
Hmm.
fun? But, and
Yeah.
the feeling that you get after, it's like once you
Hmm.
actually do it and you're on the
Yeah.
stage, it's like, okay, it
You're
is
hooked. Yeah.
it's whatever happens up there. I have no idea. I have no recollection.
Yeah.
Um, do you remember your stage time, or was it kind of like a blur?
I remember, but I just remember like only being able to see the judges. Like I didn't look for my family. Like I just was so focused, like look at them. And I don't know, I was just like talking to myself the whole time. Just like you did this, you're here. Like I really don't know what's going on. I don't even know where I'm standing like in this lineup. But I was just like so happy that I was able to like do it.
Mhm,
And then right when I got off, the nerves and everything, like I just felt so calm and it was like that was so cool. I would just want to do it again.
mhm.
But
Yeah, because like this, your adrenaline is just like pumping, pumping, pumping,
mhm,
because it's like months and months of hard work, and you're
yes,
like, I'm about to see if it was worth it and see my
yes,
face. And then the second like you get off of stage, it's like, I'm
yeah,
like,
you
I
can
can
breathe.
finally relax. I can take a deep breath, and then
Yes,
you got to do it again. That just like initial walk out there, it is scary. No matter how many times you
yeah,
do it, it's scary. It's more fun, and you kind of realize,
hmm,
okay, I like this feeling now. I know it'll
yeah,
go away. But just doing it for the first time, it's a really big step. And you either really, at that point when you get off stage, you either know if you like it, or if you like,
hmm, yeah,
you will know the second you step off of stage if you're
yeah,
going to do it again or if you're done.
that's
Because,
true.
but a lot of times it is addicting, so you want to do it again.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
how did placing go for that show?
So I got second in novice or first, sorry, first in novice and then second in open. And it's funny because when I got off the stage, my husband was just like, "Do you know where you were?" And I was like, "No." I had no idea. And he's like, "You're in the middle." And I'm just like, "Okay, like that's cool." But I did not expect like to do so well. And of course I was just like a string bean at my first show, but still like it still was like a physique that I would have never like been able to attain unless I went through a prep. So it was just really cool to see my body change like that.
Yeah, I think the first, like the novice class, I love it because it's like there's, you're lean. Like there's no
Yeah.
muscle yet.
Yes.
Like when I look back at my old pictures, like in my head, I thought I was like shredded. I'm like, I'm so muscular and
Yes.
everything. And then you look at pictures now, like years later, and
Yeah.
I was just a little shrimp. Like someone needed to give me some food. Like what was I
Yeah.
doing? But I just really remember because you go from like no shape to having
Hmm.
even just a little bit, and it's a
Yes.
big transformation. It's like that
Yeah.
first time that you do a prep, it's like, whoa, I
It's
didn't know
crazy.
this
Hmm.
was all under all that.
Yeah.
You see it, and
Yeah.
it kind of shows you it's like, what else can we do? Like, what else
Yeah.
can we do if we did this in 3 months?
Yeah.
What's going to happen next year?
Yeah. And like I was always so insecure about my arms. And like even when I put on body weight, I just hold it in my arms. And so I always thought, oh well, it's just always gonna be an insecurity of mine. And then like when I was on prep, I'm like, I have shoulders. Like, what the heck is this? And so just like knowing that I can do that is just awesome.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
a
cool.
really cool feeling, and like
Yeah.
being able to share it, like it's sharing your story, which is it's cool because it's like, okay, someone, Heidi,
Yeah.
I remember we were probably watching the same videos because I started
Okay.
2017. So like 2016-ish is maybe 20, the end of 2016. That's when I started like following the YouTubers and things like that. Of like, I remember just like watching her show day videos and just
Mhm.
being like, oh my gosh, I just like love, I like
Yeah.
love how she looks. And that's when bikini was like not that hard. And I'm like,
Yes.
this is attainable. This is
Yeah.
so attainable. I'm like, oh my gosh, like she looks so good. And just like
Yeah.
seeing her, I was like, this is like a sport. Like
Mhm.
people get prizes and win. And it
Yeah.
just like the post show treats were really big at the time. And like it was
Yes.
just like everyone's like, oh, you have so much fun and you're glammed. And then you just go shove your face with cake and they just look so good and they still can eat whatever they want and they just look so good. And so that's funny because it's like those are some of like the OGs, like the
Uh-huh.
Angelicas and the Ashleys
Yes.
and like Tana, you like all these old school
Yeah.
YouTubers is kind of where like I started to. It's
Mhm.
just like looking at them and it is that mindset of like these
Yeah.
girls are just because I wasn't very confident at
Yeah,
all.
me neither.
It's and you looked at them and you're like, they just like have
Yeah.
it going on. Like whatever
Mhm.
they're having, I was like, I want to get a little
I wanna
taste of it.
do.
And
Yeah.
it happens, I think, to every person in a prep. Like it
Mhm.
just teaches you that you can really start achieving things once the mind is like locked in.
Yeah.
Even if it's hard and you do it for like X amount of months and then finally getting there, it's like, whoa, I can do a
Yeah.
lot more than this. So
Yeah,
this
for
was
sure.
your first show was in 2021.
Yes.
And then did you like how far between first show to second show?
I think it was almost a year, maybe like 8 months or so. So I actually got engaged right after my first show. So when I was picking everything, I knew like I wanted to get or we wanted to get married in July. So I'm like, okay, well, I want to do the show within a time frame that I'm gonna look good for the wedding, but not like way too thin and not like be careful too. So my mom was terrified when I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick a show in May. And she was like, what? And I'm like, it's okay. I'm gonna be fit, but I'm not gonna be like stage lean. And so I prepped through the whole like wedding planning. I did my show. So I think that was about 8 months or 9 months. Did my show and then I did my like bachelorette party the next weekend, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, I took like a solid 6 months to focus on growth in between there and then did junior USAs.
Okay, so this was 2022 or 2021?
Yes. So my first show was 2021 and then the next one was 22.
Okay.
So
So between that time, were you still prepping? Were you off seasoning? What was happening?
I I never like completely went into an off season. Like my building phase was only like maybe almost 6 months, which I feel like is a good time frame. But now I know that I need a lot more time to grow. But just to like, I guess, be able to step on a national stage and feel like I did okay. um, but yeah, I was in prep for most of the time period.
Okay. And so we're nationally qualified from our first show, and then we
Mm-hmm.
do nationals. Well, what
Mm-hmm.
was that stepping stone like? And walk us through that experience.
I wish that I could have told myself like do another regional show or a few regional shows, but it was still a good experience. I ended up placing third in my class. So I was just happy to like place at a national show. And it was a lot of fun because like we didn't do a honeymoon right after the wedding. So it was like a little pre like wedding trip, I guess. Um, but it was a lot different than a regional show. I feel like it was a little bit more like serious. I thought there would have been more people, and I don't know if it's because the only show I had done before was like a Texas show. I don't know if that's just like a Texas thing for everything to be so like big and over the top. But this one was a little bit smaller. I feel like there wasn't as many like people and there wasn't as much like going on. So it was like just the show because the Branch Warren, there was like some strongman like um thing going on and like a bunch of vendors and stuff. But like and then of course the classes are a little bit smaller. But I wish I would have done more regional shows, but I am glad that I did the national show.
Yeah.
Now I know that I need to grow a lot more and do more regional shows before I step back on a national show again.
Yeah, I mean, it's like national shows are hit and miss. Like some classes, some it's like randomly everyone decides like
Yeah,
we're going to show up to this, and then some of them are small, some of them are not,
yeah,
and then it could be, maybe your class is small and then some other class is like triple the size. Like
yeah.
you have no idea who's going to
Hmm.
show up at nationals, but it is more competitive, it's more serious, it's like a big it because pro cards are on the line. So
Hmm. Yeah.
which national show is this again?
Junior USA's.
So is that top four overall get pro cards?
I I think so. Yeah,
Because
I
this
think so.
was that shows in May.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
that was one of my lists, and a lot of people don't do that because there's limited pro cards.
Hmm.
So, um, I think not only do you have to win your class, but then
Yeah.
out of the top like eight, A through
Yeah.
H, you have to get beat four other girls. So only half
Hmm.
of the first place winners walk away pro. So that's like a hard reality of like, okay, even if I do get first here, there's like a 50% chance that that first place isn't going to
Hmm.
convert to a pro card. And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
how much nationals are expensive? Should I even waste some money
Yeah.
on national shows are way more expensive and it is
Yeah.
serious, but it's
Definitely.
good to get that experience in when
Hmm.
you're not ready. I honestly like in that way you can be like fully see, okay, now I know what it's all
Yeah.
about. I've done
Yes.
it once. I can come back. I can focus. I know what I need to
Hmm.
do. I got next. I mean, third place at nationals. That's really good. Like really, that's really,
Yeah.
really good. And you get feedback from the best judges. So were you able
Mhm.
to get any good feedback to work on?
Yeah, just basically to grow and the glute hand tie-ins. I mean, everything else was good, like suit and presence. Of course, I always need to practice posing. Um, but yeah, when I chose the show, I had just looked at the date because I knew I wanted to do it for my wedding. So I didn't pay attention to like how many people are gonna get pro cards, like nothing like that. But now, like, I want to do a handful of regional shows, like, win an overall show, and then go from there. Like, there's really no rush to
Yeah.
get on a national stage at all.
No, yeah. And I think
Yeah.
that's something that you don't really understand
Yeah.
until you've done it a little bit. And it's like,
Hmm.
okay, the package that you want to take to nationals needs to be like your personal
Yeah.
best. And just having a warm-up show, I didn't do that for my last national show. And it's something that I was like, why, if I was lean, why wouldn't
Hmm.
I just do a regional show to get the stage jitters out? Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you? So, if anyone is thinking about doing like a national show, don't just go from like one show and then spend 3, 4, 5 minutes like, and then just do a national show, like the first show off the bat. Like, you need to get the dust off. You need to get the dirt
Yeah.
off. You need to kind of air out the airs. And it's not the time to, you know, kind of like make the mistakes at nationals, like make them on a
Yeah.
small show. So that way, the second that you get to nationals, like you give yourself the best
Hmm.
chance that you have to place and to get pro.
Yeah.
If that's your goal, if it's just to go and you
Yeah.
want to go, but if you can help yourself, like
Hmm.
have judges see you and get really, really good feedback. Because, if you're 4 weeks out, you're close enough, like you can do a lot in a
Yeah.
month if it's just getting leaner, or if it's like, okay, maybe I do need to grow and I'm not even going to spend the money on to nationals. But
Yeah.
everyone's journey to the stage is differently. Um, so that was May. So you've been in this reverse time for a while now.
For a while, yeah. It's been, I think, another 8 months. Um, and then I feel like at the beginning, right when I stepped off stage, it was a little bit harder because of like our wedding and all the stuff going on. Like I didn't take it as serious. And then I was kind of like, okay, gonna get back on track. And then I was like, I just got burnt out. Like I just needed to change things up. And I think like what you're doing like another federation is so cool because even though like I wasn't a pro, I got so stuck in like almost identity, like identifying with being a competitor that I felt like if I wasn't, if I didn't have a show on my calendar, I had like no reason, no purpose to go to the gym. And so it took me a while to like get out of that funk and I had to like fall back in love with fitness again in order to get back there. So that's why I was like, I'm gonna sign up for different classes and just like appreciate what I can do with my body. And then I'm gonna, I plan to focus again on really like building and stuff, but it's also healthy to know when you just need to like, be open to other things.
Yes, like that's kind of how I was feeling. And I'm like, I can't, it felt like Groundhog's Day. And then it was
Yeah.
Groundhog's Year. It's like, I was like, this cycle has to break somehow, or
Mhm.
it's going to break me. Like, I have to,
Yeah.
like, you have to take a second and be like, okay, I mean, if you're not placing, it's like, okay, I have this goal. If I'm not getting closer to it, then why am I going to keep doing the same thing? Like, something has
Yeah.
to change.
Yeah.
Something around you is not going to change. The gym's not going to change. So you
Yeah.
have to be the one that changes. And sometimes that is
Right.
okay. Like I feel the same way. It's like, not only did I feel like I changed over 5 years, it's like I'm only a bikini competitor. I'm only able to
Yeah.
be an MPC amateur
Mhm.
bikini competitor. And that is that was my identity. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I am not
Yeah.
going to be, I was like, you don't have to be defined by that. I was like, you can
Yeah.
literally be whatever. I was like, I can just be a girl that likes fitness. If I want to
Yeah.
never step on stage, that can be it. And it's part of my journey. It was like, it doesn't have to, like,
Yeah.
you don't have to put your worth into placings. And it's
Yeah.
hard because it's competition and we're
Yeah.
competitive and gives us drive in the gym. But
Mhm.
when you don't have a show, it is a whole nother
Yeah.
mindset unlock if you can stick to your diet, not because you have to, but because you like it and you want
Yeah.
to. And like just
Mhm.
learning your body outside of a prep,
Mhm.
not having to have a show date to keep you
Right.
accountable, like it's really nice. Like it takes
Yeah.
time though. It does
Yeah.
because like you're like, okay, I'm not feeling it. Like if I don't
Right.
want to go, I don't have to go. There's not a show to hold me. Like I don't have to be in a little
Yeah.
bikini in 8 months. But it's more of like, no, I actually should go because I like how I feel. It's
Yeah.
just it's different. And that's kind of what I'm doing now. It's like I want to
Right.
figure prep is hard, prep is expensive, it's
Mhm.
mentally draining, but it's also so many good things. It's like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
do I still want to do it? And I'm like, well, I learned that you got to take a lot of time off anyway to
Mhm.
grow.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part is like stepping out of preps because
Yeah.
I want to be in prep. I want to be lean all the time because it looks
Yeah.
flashy. It's nice. Like you got abs, like
Yeah.
heck yeah. But it's like you can't realistically like
Yeah.
then your physique is just that. It was like if
Mhm.
just keep that same physique, if you're okay with looking the same year after year after year,
Yeah.
then stay in a prep forever. Just
Yeah.
prep,
Yeah.
prep, prep. But it's like I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I want to actually make improvements and I want to hit goals and still,
Mhm.
try something different and come
Mhm.
back if I want to. And so now for you, like you're kind of going through this time-ish and like
Yeah.
figuring out what your next move is. So how has your like what has been your conversations with yourself or like what keeps you motivated now?
So I think what I've came to realize, and I know it sounds like it doesn't make sense, but like because prep is like all in, but I feel like if your goal is just to be healthy and like push yourself, it should almost be like competing should be supplemental to you instead of like the other way around. So what I'm trying to like shift my mindset is I want to make prep an experience that is an enjoyable lifestyle for me, that competing is just like extra. Like it's not, I have to do this or I feel like I am not fit. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of what's been keeping me motivated. And then telling myself, like, my prep doesn't have to look like this person's or this person's, or I don't have to do just this or this. Like, if I want to go for a walk outside rather than be like on the treadmill, then I can. Like, it's okay. It doesn't mean that I'm not working as hard as this person. Or if I need to do a couple classes a week of like Pilates or cycling just to keep me like healthy and active, then that's okay too. And I feel like once I started telling myself that it was okay, then started enjoying the process again. And it's exciting again because I got so used to like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go to the gym and do shoulders only. Whereas like when I'm doing a different, like a class or something, I'm like, whoa, I've never like worked my arms like this before. And just being open to other resources, I guess.
Yeah, it's hard because like the comparison game, you're like,
Hmm.
okay, well, if I'm not being hardcore, I'm not a serious athlete. If
Yeah.
I don't only eat tilapia and asparagus year round for
Yeah.
the rest of my life, like I am not taking it serious and
Yeah.
this is bad, or this is not how
Yeah.
bikini athletes train. The ones Olympians don't do this. If I want to be, if I
Hmm.
want to be a pro, I gotta act like it.
Hmm.
Like how you get to this state, like every single person's prep is like unique to them. There's not a one size fits all because
Yeah.
all body types are
Hmm.
not one size fits all. Like
Right.
we all get to the stage with different backgrounds, different like diets,
Hmm.
different like ways, but
Yeah.
there's multiple ways to get to the same destination is
Yeah.
pretty, and you have to be realize like okay, there is more to cardio than
Hmm.
just the Stairmaster out there.
Yeah.
Crazy. And you can actually see really amazing results and have fun in classes,
Yeah.
have like
Yeah.
make it super enjoyable and
Yes.
still have the same shape or even a better
Hmm.
shape. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's more fun like doing hours upon hours of the treadmill.
Hmm.
It is boring,
Yeah.
so boring. So it is so nice and like refreshing just to be like, okay, it's gonna be all right. Like it's gonna
Yeah.
be okay. You can still see progress. And
Hmm.
sometimes it's not even about seeing progress. Like sometimes
Yeah.
it's not. Like especially in an off season, it's like, okay, well, our weight is just it's we're just maintaining and we're just, we're just some weeks it's the scale is gonna not move or it's
Yeah.
measurements are gonna stall, but things are happening or things are maybe not happening. And it's okay to not feel like you have to be this like perfection. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I have to be so perfect all the time. And
Hmm.
it takes time, like it just takes time and like learning yourself, learning your body, like what's important to you to find like
Yeah.
your prep strategies or life,
Yeah.
like your definition of fitness is going to change
Hmm.
when you start competing.
Yeah.
When I first started, before I was a bodybuilder,
Uh-huh.
I thought eating a salad meant I was healthy and working
Yeah.
out like three
Yeah.
times a day or three times a week on a treadmill. I used to do
Hmm.
like the hour treadmill and just like
Yeah.
watch
Same.
TV. That was my like workout. So I was like, that is healthy. And then it changed. And I'm like, okay, now
Yeah.
I know. It's like I gotta go hard. But now it's different. It's like, okay, you can go
Hmm.
for a walk outside or you can do a class or
Yeah.
if you have to miss one day because something important is going on, like I don't know, it's
It's
okay.
gonna
It's like
be fit. Yeah.
gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. But it is
Yeah.
a lot. It's everyone. I swear everyone has to go through it. Like everyone
Yeah.
to mentally just be like, okay, it's because
Yeah.
once you start bodybuilding, like you do feel like you're like now I'm this like new fitness person and no one can catch me eating cake because I'm not allowed.
Hmm.
That's not something that
Yeah.
I can. But it doesn't matter. It's like you can literally eat and do whatever activities you want and it doesn't really matter what anyone thinks
Yeah.
or you think that they think. you know?
Yeah, because I've even had people tell me like, "Oh wow, like I had seen you either like when you were close to the show and you looked so good." And I'm like, "Okay, like thank you."
Yeah.
But I want
Huh.
to still feel
Say
good
that.
in every like not when I'm just competing.
Yeah.
And so like it just I don't know, it's you have to get to that place with yourself that no matter what, like just accept how you look and how you feel more than anything. Especially with food, because that was one thing where post show I was having such a hard time. Like if someone mentioned like getting fast food or something, I would be like, no, 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 like I'm not touching that. But in reality now I'm like, it's not gonna kill me. Like I can still have a burger and be fine. Like so that took a while for me to like kind of, chill out a little bit.
Oh yeah. So same. So there's weird things that I used to be like so against. Like I used to
Yes.
be so against energy drinks. Like,
Really?
yes, like I'm like, that is like I would be mad if I would know, I'd be like, that is poison, that is toxic. It's like that is you are literally putting gasoline in your body, like passionately against energy drinks. And now that has changed. Same thing with like diet soda. Like I used to be a believer of diet pop is going to kill you. It has some weird chemicals in it. It's going to give you cancer. And now I drink it. And it's like, I'm
Yeah.
still, it's like you still see weight loss. It's still like health is
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever tastes good. Like if you want to
Mhm.
drink diet soda every day, do it. Like it's 0 calories and it tastes good. Sometimes you just need a diet root beer and
Sweet
you're
tooth, yes. Yeah.
and same thing with energy drink. They taste
Hmm.
really good. They
Yeah.
taste really good. Caffeine is okay in small doses. It's not, I
Yeah.
mean, don't drink like 5 a day, but
Right. Yeah.
it's funny what we think at the beginning versus what we know. And so it's just going to change, just like
Yes.
as you mature in the sport and with your life is changing too, like your
Hmm.
priorities change, like getting
Yeah.
married changes your whole fitness because it's like, okay,
Yeah.
to getting married bachelorette party is completely like not the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not the
For
same at
sure.
all. What do you
Yeah.
do for work?
So I am an X-ray tech, but currently I work from home. I do like healthcare recruiting, and I also do training as well online.
Okay. So
Yes.
your husband has seen you go through this like evolution.
Yes.
Is he into the sport? Is he supportive of this? Like what was
Oh
his
yeah. So well, he's very supportive, but he used to be into it like when we first kind of started talking and stuff. And so he was also another person who was like, "Why don't you compete?" That I was like, "What? No."
yeah.
Um, he is like kind of still into it. He's like the same as me right now. Like we've matured to the point where we're like, we don't have to be like shredded walking around to be like you when it kind he kind of just wants to work out to be healthy. And like with his work schedule and stuff, he doesn't have very much like free time, but he's been very supportive. And I feel like it was such a cool time, like getting like engaged and then married through both of my shows because I got to see like him just be so supportive in a way that I guess I wouldn't have otherwise, like fixing my tan, like little things. It's like, oh, you need to do this, or like, do I need to go get you boiled eggs from the hotel or like whatever. So I feel like it was a win-win because it was really cool to be able to go through that with someone who just like was by my side through everything. And like if I was going to do late night cardio, would be there, like didn't have to do it, but would be there like with me and eating pretty much like when he was home and not like at work or whatever, eating whatever I'm eating. So I've been really grateful to have him as my support system.
Good. Okay. Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm going to pause. Okay, so we kind of getting closer to like the end of this episode. So I wanted just to see if you had any pieces of advice that either you wish you would have known at the beginning of your journey, or if you could go back and talk to your younger self.
I okay, so I think like the mental health side of things, just like your food, like what you're putting into your body is going to like create the results on show day. The same thing with like what you're putting into your mind. So I feel like of course, we're all going to be doing lots of cardio and all those things during prep. So like using that time to listen to either like podcasts or things that are motivating to you, because that like short but feels like forever, like 16 weeks or however long you're prepping. Um, I feel like your mental health is just as important and it is going to show on your show day just as much as like physically everything you've been doing. So it's really important to feed yourself like positive, inspiring things your entire prep, because you're not going to feel motivated your entire prep at all. Like it's going to be hard, and you're going to learn like what it really means to be like disciplined and committed to something. Um, so I would say like there was a point where I wasn't even like listening to music. It was just like podcasts or audiobooks, because like I needed a constant like feeding of something just to like keep me going. And you don't really realize like how much things that you're listening to or what you're taking in is affecting you until you remove yourself from things. Even like just regular music. Like I realized how much value I was getting out of my training sessions because I was filling them up with learning something about competing or just like something good that I needed pretty much. Um, and then also knowing that like there's like having a reason why for your prep, yes, but like knowing that it doesn't have to be the same why each prep. Like it's a different season of your life and there's a different reason why you're doing that prep. And it can be something really intense, like um I guess like an outlet for pain that you're using it, or it can just be because you just want to like feel good and look good and check something off your list. So I think just taking pressure off of yourself in like those areas, and just like being present and enjoying every moment, because then you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I looked like that. And I just remembering like what it felt like on show day, or those last weeks of prep where you're like dead. But just to be present, like even journaling or blogging so you can go back and watch, because it's a really cool experience. And like if anyone's thinking about competing, it's like why not, like just try it, and you learn so much about yourself. And it changes your life. I think anyone who's competed can say like it definitely changes your life in a lot of ways, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, once, I mean, it's hard to put into words what it does, but it's like
Yeah.
it did a lot for me and it's like I want to
Mm,
share it. And so it's like, okay, I want everyone to experience a prep just because
yeah.
like the discipline aspect of like doing hard things for a long period of time and just saying
Mhm.
dedicated just to one goal,
Yeah.
for, X amount of months because holidays and birthdays and out to eat and all these different things start to come up and you have to mentally be strong of like, nope,
Mhm.
I have to just stay the course. It's really hard and I'm really hungry and I don't want to do my
Yeah.
cardio and I don't want to train today and all these different excuses. And you're just like, okay, no, I have to do it. I have to do it. So if it's important to you, you'll find
Mhm.
the time and you'll make it a part of your daily habits. And it does,
Mhm.
your prep is what you make it. You can make
Yeah.
it suck. I've had preps where I have had negative mindsets and I just
Mhm.
let myself say, oh, I'm so hungry. It's so miserable. Oh, this is so hard. And it is harder than if you keep telling yourself it's hard, it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
If you keep telling yourself it's hungry, it's going to be hungry. But if you switch and you listen to positive and
Mhm.
motivational stuff like that, it's like, it's more fun. It's like, okay, it is difficult, but this is for my benefit. And you just see the
Yeah.
positive side of it. Because if you get caught up in about just oh my gosh, this
Mhm.
sucks. Like that is a person that you'll become because you're doing
Yeah.
it for a long period of time. So
Mhm.
that it like you have to be stay strong. It's gonna get
Yeah.
hard. You're gonna get tired and all of those different things, but it's just like it is worth it. And
Yeah.
all there's what you feed your mind
Mhm.
does make an impact. And that's for any person. It's not
Right.
just competitors. What
Right.
you consume, what you listen to, what conversations you have with yourself. It's your
Yeah.
environment around you, who you surround yourself with, like who you hang out with, like who you talk to, how you
Mhm.
talk about yourself, how you feel, just the internal
Yeah.
conversations that you have with yourself, all those different things. They just start with what makes you happy. If you're not doing things
Yeah.
that make you happy, then stop doing them.
Yeah.
And start doing the right things. It seems pretty simple, but it's harder or it's easier said than done. Uh,
Yeah.
any last minute advice for someone, or is there anything that we haven't talked about that you wanted to talk about?
I guess just like going back to if you feel like there's like a longing to want to compete, but you were like me or Savannah at our first shows where you're like, I could never get on the stage. I just want to encourage you to just do it because you learn a lot of confidence too. And like, I don't know, it was just, I could go on and on about the experience that I had. Like, I feel like God can use anything for your good. And so, even though it sounds crazy to say, like, oh my gosh, like I had worked on my faith during that time because why would God use me like standing in a bikini on the stage? But for me, it was a time of growth in all areas of my life where I knew that I couldn't do that by myself. Like I had to have his guidance and the right people around me. And so, yeah, like if anyone's thinking about it, just go for it. And then I'm so grateful that we have resources like your podcast and your YouTube videos because I never had anyone like telling me what to do, but or showing me how to do things, but your videos and other videos were the reason why I was able to do it. So I also just want to thank you for doing that for so many of us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes me feel good because like that's why I started it. And it was kind of, I was like so nervous to start this podcast. Like the second I pushed upload for the first time, I was like, what are people gonna say? No one's gonna listen. No one's gonna watch this video, like especially for YouTube, because that's like very personal. It's like you're showing people
Yeah.
how you live. I was like,
Yeah.
this is so embarrassing. Like I was so embarrassed to even tell anyone that I was doing this. And I was like, yeah, I started a YouTube channel. Like, yeah, I started a
Oh,
YouTube channel. Or like I used to never even tell people I was competing. I would just say, yeah, I'm into fitness. Like I could never ever say like, oh, I'm a bodybuilder or I'm doing a bodybuilder show. They would even ask during my first prep and I was serving in a restaurant and they're like, what are you doing? You look good. I was like, oh yeah, I just am into fitness. I work out a little bit. I was like so nervous because I didn't want to get judged. And now I'm like,
yeah.
whatever. I was like, this is what I
Yeah.
love. It's so much fun because I was like, it attracted the people that it was supposed
Right.
to. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like I wanted to put this message out there just because it's when I was prepping, like from a small town, like there wasn't anyone that I knew that was like
Yeah.
doing this. And so I did feel a little crazy. I was like, okay, surely if I put my life out there for the internet strangers, there'll be someone. I was like, if you're this
Yeah.
person to help them with their journey. I was like, I think that'll be worth it, even if it's my mom watching.
Yeah. That's
They'll
true.
watch it. So yeah, it's just stepping
Yeah.
outside your comfort zone. You never know
Yeah.
what's on the other side of it.
Yeah. Definitely. That's well said. Yes.
Okay, well, thanks for coming on and sharing your
Yeah.
story. If
Thank
anyone
you.
wants to follow up with you, where can they do so?
On my Instagram, I think it's Macey dot Brian with two N's.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank
Yeah.
you.
Well, thank you. Nice to meet